Britain's incoming Finance Minister Jeremy Hunt said on Saturday some taxes would go up. A further U-turn as Liz Truss battles to hold on as Prime Minister just over a month into her term. Truss fired Hunt's predecessor, Kwasi Kwarteng, on Friday.
I was incredibly sorry to lose him.
And said corporation tax would rise, reversing a key pledge to scrap the planned increase, just weeks after she ditched another promise to cut tax for the highest earners. Opinion poll ratings are dire for Truss and her ruling Conservatives amid market turmoil. Many of her own lawmakers are asking not if, but how Truss should be removed. Hunt is Britain's fourth Chancellor of the Exchequer in as many months.
It was a mistake to cut the top rate of tax at a period when we were asking everyone to make sacrifices. And it was a mistake to fly blind and not to back up the economic plans that were announced with an independent forecast from the Office for Budget Responsibility. Both those things have been addressed.
We have taken decisive action.
Truss won the contest to replace Boris Johnson on a platform of big tax cuts to stimulate growth, which Kwarteng duly announced. But how they'd be funded was unclear, which sent the markets into meltdown as millions face a cost of living crisis. Amid a ferocious backlash, the Bank of England had to intervene to protect pensions. Opposition Labour Party leader Keir Starmer said on Saturday all the Conservatives had left were excuses.
That's all her party has left. But even they know she can't fix the mess that she's created. And deep down, her MPs know something else. They no longer have a mandate from the British people.
It's not clear if Truss's appointment of Hunt and change in policy go far enough to satisfy investors.
Members and supporters of the Cobb County Republican Party in Georgia gathered at their headquarters in Marietta late on Friday to watch Democratic U.S. Senator Raphael Warnock and Republican challenger Herschel Walker trade blows in a contentious televised debate. The showdown is a key contest that could help determine control of the Senate in the November 8th congressional elections. The two sparred over a range of issues from abortion to policing to personal integrity. Walker, a one-time football star and political novice backed by former U.S. President Donald Trump, sought to brand the incumbent as a rubber stamp for Democratic President Joe Biden's agenda, which Republicans have painted as responsible for inflation, crime, and other social ills.
Because I said, President Trump is my friend.
Warnock, pastor at a historic Atlanta church who has served less than 2 years in the Senate, presented himself as a committed public servant who has worked to cap the price of insulin, control gun violence, and protect rights.
That a patient's room is too narrow and small and cramped a space for a woman, her doctor, and the United States government.
The race has already been rocked by media reports that Walker, who has voiced opposition to abortion without exceptions, paid for an abortion in 2009 for a woman he was dating who later gave birth to one of his children.
And on abortion, I'm a Christian.
Walker calls it a flat-out lie. Reuters has not independently verified the claim. Many of the 36 attendees came away fired up about Walker's chances, saying they were impressed by his performance. Latana Disher, a consultant for nonprofits and an East Cobb County resident, had high praise.
I was quite pleased, very well pleased with Herschel Walker's performance. What I saw him do tonight as a competitor, and that's how we most know him, was to really stand up for the issues that are on his heart.
Joe Webb, a retired military service member and Marietta resident, even compared Walker to Trump.
Herschel hit a home run tonight. I don't like doing sports analogies, but he did, and I'm just so proud of him. I saw him when he first started the campaign, a little rough about speaking, but he was Trump Jr. tonight, in my opinion, with the way he presented himself, his character, his control, and he is speaking the truth.
During the hour-long debate in Savannah, Walker accused Warnock of attacking the police, empowering criminals, and allowing the powerful painkiller fentanyl into Georgia by not protecting U.S. borders. Walker was admonished by a debate moderator for using a prop that appeared to be a badge, after Warnock referred to dubious claims that Walker has worked in law enforcement and to a decades-old police report about Walker threatening to have a shootout with police.
I've never threatened a shootout with the police.
Well, and now I have to respond to that.
We are moving on,
I have
gentlemen.
to respond to that. And you know what's so funny? I am with many police officers.
I ask you to put that prop away.
The Republican has acknowledged struggling in the past with mental health and was asked if he still receives treatment.
I talk to my pastors, and I continue to get help if I need help. But I don't need any help. I'm doing well.
Democrats hold slim majorities in the Senate and House of Representatives. Senate control could be decided by the outcome of races in Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, North Carolina, New Hampshire, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. A recent opinion poll conducted by the University of Georgia showed Warnock leading Walker 46% to 43% among likely voters. If neither candidate gets more than 50% of the vote on November 8th, the race would be decided in a December 6 runoff election. Each candidate pledged to accept the outcome of the election.
As an election looms over Israel, escalating violence in the occupied West Bank is front and center. These are not photos of politicians. Rather, they're the faces of the more than 100 Palestinians killed this year. Most since late March during a crackdown by Israeli police, following a string of fatal street attacks by Palestinians in Israel, which killed 19 people. Ahead of the November 1 election, Prime Minister Yair Lapid has backed a two-state solution with an independent Palestinian state alongside Israel, which seized control of the West Bank in the 1967 Middle Eastern War. But with more and more Israeli settlements being built, Palestinians living in sprawling refugee camps are weary of political solutions. Raphael is a Palestinian resident of Nablus.
The Palestinians and the Palestinian blood are the card used for the past 15 years, since it was used by former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu during his election campaign by expressing to the Israeli right wing that he will build more settlements on Palestinian land and how he will raid cities. It's all at the expense of Palestinian blood. We are freedom fighters, but unfortunately the whole world sees us as terrorists. The Palestinian who is now a fighter, aged 20, 22, 25 years old, didn't yet see a successful political process. He only witnessed killings and raids.
Top of mind for most Israeli voters is the soaring cost of living, according to surveys. Palestinian issues barely register as an election issue, though settlers in the West Bank are calling for a crackdown. Yossi Dagan, head of the Samaria Regional Council, called for action while at a protest after a car was fired on at a settlement near Nablus.
We are in the midst of a wave of terror courtesy of the terrorist Palestinian Authority, and all our government is doing, instead of fighting the terrorism, confiscating weapons, reinstating roadblocks, is writing talkbacks like some pensioner.
While Israeli officials blame the Palestinian Authority, the PA say their hands are tied by Israel. And despite the growing violence raising international alarm, there are no signs of a wider political solution in the conflict.